Welcome back to Geographical Thinking. I'm Michelle Brake, and I'll be your guide as we explore ideas, stories, and conversations through the lens of geography. Taking over hosting duties for this episode is Matt Lewin for another episode of Management Perspectives.
Hello and welcome to Management Perspectives, an interview series from Esri Canada where we discuss the business side of GIS and geospatial technology and how it's reshaping industries around the world. I'm Matt Lewin, Director of Strategic Advisory Services at Esri Canada. This week, my colleague Kelsey Davis speaks with Nigel Forster, GIS specialist from the City of Medicine Hat in Alberta, about their journey with GIS. Have a listen. Over to you, Kelsey.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. Very happy to be here today with a very special guest, Nigel Forster, as you mentioned. Nigel is coming to us from the City of Medicine Hat, where I think he's been there over 20 years now, working in the GIS realm and helping the organization grow their GIS capabilities. But I just want to hand it over to you. Please give us a little bit of background on the City of Medicine Hat, Nigel, before we dive into your strategic journey.
Certainly. Thanks, Kelsey. As you mentioned, the City of Medicine Hat has been a long time Esri customer. We have a very mature GIS system. We've been using the enterprise GIS here for about 30 years now, different capacities. And for those not familiar, Medicine Hat is just down the road from Calgary. We're tucked in the southeast corner of Alberta, right by the Saskatchewan-US border.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Nigel. Well, it's been a moment since we worked on your strategy. So thanks for agreeing to chat with us here today. Just wanted to do a little bit of a look back. And now that we're a few years under our belts in terms of where we were back in 2020, step me through the strategic journey that you've been through. Let's go back to when the idea first came up of doing a strategy. What were some of the factors that influenced the decision to go ahead with doing a strategy, and some of the hurdles and challenges along the way, and how you overcame those? Thoughts on that?
Great, thanks, Kelsey. You're right. It has been a moment. It has been a journey. Give you a little bit of background, a little bit of history. As you mentioned earlier, I have been with the city for 20 plus years. The first 17 of those was with the IT department. And at the time I was managing several teams. We decided back in 2018 to relaunch the enterprise GIS team. We actually took it out of the IT department and moved it to a different division. Part of the strategy was to build the team. So we got additional staff members. We had additional resourcing, additional funding. Back in the IT days, had some talent, had a lot of great ideas, but really just didn't have the capacity or the resources to implement some of those. And one of the things that we realized was the need to prioritize and develop strategic initiatives for our enterprise GIS team. So having that relaunch, that rebranding, having additional resources certainly gave us more ability to build out our GIS and to engage with yourselves to develop a good, solid GIS strategic plan. Part of the challenge, part of the hurdles would be trying to explain the benefits of GIS technology to the managers and directors and to get their buy-in. Everybody knows we do really cool stuff. They're not quite sure maybe how it works behind the scenes. So in order to do that, we had to be a lot more strategic. We had to explain the benefits and really sell the idea to our managers. In terms of hurdles and challenges and moving it forward, obviously, we developed a hybrid model for GIS. We had a central core team. However, we service multiple departments through the organization, so our stakeholders have their own departments, they have their own duties. And we were sort of coordinating and orchestrating GIS behind the scenes. So it's getting that uptake and that buy-in from our stakeholders Some of them were quite satisfied with the status quo, how things were going. So it was getting sort of selling it at both levels, both to the management and at the user level. And really, part of the challenge was really not knowing where we were going to start or how we were going to start it. Like, it's obviously a huge undertaking. So we had to get the stakeholder buy-in. We had to get representation from across the organization. And we also had to choose who would participate and decide how to get them engaged. As I said, we have multiple departments, all with their GIS subject matter experts. So basically, we sold it to them by going to them and saying, where are you having challenges? Like, what are your pain points? How can we help you? So through that, we were able to facilitate and host a number of discovery workshops with Kelsey and Sarah to help shape a collaborative vision. And through that engagement with our stakeholders, we saw several concurrent themes that started to emerge. So we were able to develop a really solid GIS mission. The three fields, or the three sort of buckets that bubbled up to the top, were transformation, advocacy, and foundation.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I remember there were numerous business lines involved in the strategy, and we had quite good engagement from across the organization at the city. So we quite enjoyed the participation and appreciated. And I think it's really critical when we do these strategies to really touch as broadly as you can across the organization. It really helps drive that vision and that mission. And when you're bringing people along in your organization, it just goes that much more smoothly. So, it was a very successful strategy and a very successful undertaking. But, we always, as consultants, we have the easy job in a lot of ways, right? And helping guiding you guys through that process is one thing. And then for you to take it and implement it and make it happen is an entirely different challenge, and in some ways a bigger challenge. It's a much bigger part of the overall journey. So here we are, as we said, 3 years later, I think almost to the day, in fact, from the time we completed your strategy. Step me through a little bit what the journey's been like in the last 3 years, right? We finished the strategy, and then it's really left to you and your team and the organization to advance things from there. So, how did things go? How did the strategy influence the direction of your program? What are some of the challenges and successes along the way? What about things that happened that maybe weren't expected, either good or bad? I know there's been some change at the city. Talk us through some of those things and give us a little bit of insight on what that journey's been like since you finished the strategy.
Sure. As you said, Kelsey, developing the strategy was, we really enjoyed working with you guys. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of engagement through our stakeholders. We developed a really solid plan. We developed a really nice 3-year roadmap. Like you said, this is where the rubber hits the road. So how do we take those ideas and that plan and start building it out? Talked about some of those buckets earlier, and transformation. One of the pain points, or one of the ideas that kept bubbling up from our stakeholders was, how do we take this technology into the field? How do we enable high-value field mobility for data collection? So from that, we had some really good successes. We worked with an external vendor. We built a city-owned tree inventory out in the field. So, calculating a lot of information, having it sent back directly. Did a lot of work in the emergency management field. You may recall back July 18th of 22, we had a tornado touchdown. So we were able to use quick capture to do rapid damage assessment of some areas that were quite badly damaged. Also in the emergency management field, we built an evacuation sweep. We had a lot of challenges in our flood events where we had field staff collecting information on paper, and then we had transcribe that into Excel spreadsheets, and sitting up late at night trying to collate this and cross-reference it. It was quite a challenge. Being able to do it through ArcGIS Online and through mobility was a huge benefit for us. Not only that, we were able to migrate some of our city services online. We've got a really nice public-facing city projects map where residents can essentially go onto our city website. They can find out when projects are going to start, get some details on it, when areas might be closed, when roads might be closed. This ties in also to our traffic accommodation app. So our residents are well served knowing when work is due to start, where, and how long it's going to take place. Another area where we enjoyed great success was developing standards for public-facing maps. This kind of led into our next engagement, which was the governance, where at the time we were getting some flack from our residents about the quality of some of the maps. It wasn't so much the quality, it's the fact that the maps were inconsistent. So we built a standard map template, which all operational departments now have to follow, so that when a map is submitted to our corporate communications team, it's a standard look and feel that we're presenting to the public. Through the engagement, we really got to promote and develop GIS literacy and raise awareness, through the organization, not just internally, but also for the public. For example, we just recently released an online crime map in conjunction with the Medicine Hat Police Service. In terms of our stakeholders, bringing people together, we reinvigorated our GIS user group. Now we meet every 6 weeks, discuss initiatives, challenges, and successes. In terms of the foundation, we've cleaned up and upgraded our core GIS database. We've projected all our data to a new standard map projection. And it's really helped grow the technology throughout the entire city, not only for ourselves, but also for our residents. In terms of some of the challenges and successes, I've spoken about some of those. Reinvented our IMAP, city projects, obviously, and the online crime map. Challenges, we do have, as I said, the GIS working group, which meets every 6 weeks. We've had varying degrees of buy-in from different departments. So some are very invested and lots of good ideas, bringing a lot of things to the table. Some other departments are not quite as developed or mature as some others. Essentially, when we started, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's all really good stuff, and I know there was a ton of things on the roadmap for you guys to do, and you're a relatively small team there, but I also know there's been quite a lot of change within the organization since the strategy was finished, right? It's a municipality that changes a lot, near as I can tell, and from the conversations we've had. So, talk about some of that change. There were things that were happening that we maybe weren't aware of when we were doing the strategy, and how did that influence you and your team's ability to follow through with the roadmap, and how did the strategy help with dealing with that change and navigating it? Change is a factor, I think, in all organizations, but any comments on that?
Sure. Like you mentioned, Kelsey, change is one of the constants in municipal government. There have been a number of reorgs since I've been with the city. We've had a couple of pretty major ones in the last 3 years since we developed the plan. We left IT. We went to a department called Utility Business Development Support. We then went to the Business Transformation Office. And most recently in the summer, we ended up back in IT again. So we have come full circle, starting from our IT roots, going through different iterations, different divisions, back into IT. one of the things that has stood us in great stead has been this plan, because through the plan, we've become almost self-sufficient. We know what we need to do. We have projects that we're working on. We have goals that were identified through the plan. We're essentially self-managed, so we can go through our day-to-day operations without needing a lot of involvement or a lot of guidance from management.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I'm really glad to get that feedback. We come in, we do these strategies with our customers, and we're always curious as to how our customers move forward with all of these initiatives and all that work that goes into creating that plan. And it's really nice to hear that in your case, of course, having that plan is, I guess, in some ways, it sounds like maybe shielded you from some of the change and the impacts of that change that happens. It's a problem and a challenge for a lot of our customers, is that there's always constant change, and it can have a lot of influence and really challenge the ability to move forward with a plan. But having that plan as well allows you to stay the course, and by having all the business stakeholders engaged, of course, you have a lot of organizational support. Everybody is bought into that plan. Many stakeholders have had a hand in shaping that plan, and so it really does stand up. And I'm happy to hear that worked really well at the City of Medicine Hat in terms of shielding you guys, and you could just stay the course and really continue doing all the wonderful things you're working on.
Most
really
definitely.
good stuff.
The plan gave us a set of initiatives to begin working on, which we did. We enjoyed some great successes with that. So it got it brought a lot of positive feedback for the department and for the technology. And so people were starting to ask, well, what are you guys doing next? Can you help us develop an online map for development permits for planning, for example? So we found ourselves, like I said, not only shielded, but also in some senses in demand, because people were seeing what we were doing and really excited about how the technology was being used and how it was serving our community and our residents.
Awesome. That's really good to hear. And these are the exact kind of outcomes that we're always looking for, and some of the goals when we do these strategies in terms of the outcomes we hope for our customers. So really happy to hear and see that that's working for you guys. So just to kind of close out, and as we move towards the current state, we have a lot of customers thinking about strategies. As you said yourself at the start, you guys weren't sure what the strategy would do, how it would look, and how to get started. And of course, you engaged us to help you do that. But put yourself in the shoes of somebody going back a few years, right at the start of the journey, and what kinds of key things would you encourage people to focus on and think about when planning for this or considering completing a strategy journey like you've been on? And if you were to do it again, what kinds of things might you do differently? And let's hear your thoughts on that.
Certainly. I would strongly encourage anyone who's remotely thinking about it to really start doing it. And it is a little daunting. I won't deny it. It's a huge endeavor, and reach out to others that have the knowledge and experience to focus and guide the engagement. As I said earlier, we could not have done this by ourselves. Look to industry, look to your peers. Get that, have those discussions, have those chats, but don't be afraid of it. Like do it. It's been so worthwhile for us. Think in terms of making it successful. Know your audience, know your people, know your stakeholders. Have the right people at the table, not include your sponsors. Have stakeholders who intrinsically understand the value of the technology and the benefits that it can bring by having strategic plan to implement it and build it out for your organization. And have a good change management strategy in place. And change is hard. People are resistant, but stay the course and enjoy those successes, those wins. In terms of we were doing it again, I would say you talked earlier, Kelsey, about having really good interaction, discussion with our stakeholders and our departments. I would go as far as to invite the managers to the table as well, either with their staff or perhaps separately, just to get their buy-in, get them excited about what we're going to do, and help them understand what this journey is about. And find the true champions within the organization. Find the people who will drive that change. You will find them. You will know where they are. Seek them out. Get them excited. Get them on board. Get them working with you. And I think over communicate. Keep telling people about it. Never assume that someone's heard the messaging. Like, whether it's a stakeholder, a manager, a peer, just get them excited. Show them what you're doing. Show how it works. Show how it's benefited everyone.
Awesome. Really appreciate those insights, Nigel. So just to kind of wrap things up, give me a couple of your most valuable moments or most valuable parts of the journey or the experience so far. If you had a couple of key things that really stand out in your mind in terms of where the most value has been derived in going through this process and along the journey. Thoughts on that?
A couple of things come to mind, Kelsey. One is the uptake in our field staff using it outside the office. That has been invaluable for collecting and validating information. And some of the successes we've enjoyed for our residents, having them, building online applications that they can use that get them put the information in their hands. And save a lot of resource time on our end. One example that comes to mind, we built a little cemetery app where visitors to town can find grave sites for family or friends. Whereas in the past, they'd have to stop at the cemetery office and have staff actually pull out paper maps. It was quite time consuming. Now they can just do it on their phone. So it's just having those, building those tools for people to use. Those are some of the successes we've enjoyed and some of the things that have been tremendously valuable for us.
Oh, that sounds all really good, Nigel. I really appreciate those insights. And I think our customers, anybody that's considering a strategy would appreciate your comments as well. It's one of the key questions we get from some of our customers is, what can we expect? And I think there is, for people who haven't gone through this journey, there's some uncertainty. So really appreciate you sharing thoughts on your experience today, and wish you the best going forward with your continued journey. As we know, these journeys are never really truly over. So thank you again. Appreciate everything you've contributed here today, and good luck going forward.
Right. Thanks for the invite, Kelsey. Really enjoyed chatting today. Good to catch up.
Our guest has been Nigel Forster, GIS specialist from the City of Medicine Hat. You've been listening to Management Perspectives from Esri Canada.
A big thank you to Nigel Forster for sharing his insight on how GIS is being used in the City of Medicine Hat, Alberta. As well, thanks to Kelsey and Matt for taking over hosting duties on this episode of the Management Perspective series. If you're looking for more information about the technical side of GIS, check out the Spatial Report podcast, where Mark and Maggie dive into the latest and greatest in the world of GIS. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep thinking geographically.